unforced turnovers or offensive rebound battle there? What did you see in the second half?
Boards definitely hurt us, but I thought we, quite frankly, ran out of gas. We looked tired. Couldn't muster up enough energy to sprint into screens offensively.
Ran out of gas. That's the story the Las Vegas Aces are leaving their own arena with tonight. Not that they got beaten, that they got tired. I want you to hold on to that word, tired. Because by the time we're done here, I want you deciding for yourself whether that's what actually happened, or whether it's just the most comfortable thing a coach can say after losing at home by 16.
Game, Sophie, and pretty much everywhere you guys go, right? Fever Nation is supporting you, and you guys are giving it back. What's it like to have this kind of environment everywhere you're going, even when you're away from home?
Man, I know a lot of teams say that every game is a home game. Sorry, I was just saying if we got that charge call or not. We didn't. But I really do believe that. I think Fever, we have the best fans in the W.
Final score, 84-68. Indiana walks into Las Vegas, one of the hardest road environments in this entire league, and walks back out with their record climbing to 12-8. And notice what Sophie Cunningham is actually talking about there. Not the win, the crowd. Fever Nation showed up in Vegas, on the road, loud enough that the players are shouting them out at the podium after the final buzzer. Teams do not get that kind of away support. That's a real, traveling fan base. But here's the part that should start to bother you as we go. Normally, a Fever game lights the timeline on fire. It's the loudest thing on there. Tonight, strangely quiet. And a silent timeline after a Fever road win is not an accident. The accounts that amplify every single Indiana game suddenly have nothing to say, and I think it's the same reason the takes that are coming will claim this win doesn't even count. Because a certain someone didn't play tonight, and the internet already has the excuse loaded. I'm going to show you exactly why that argument falls apart the second you look at who else was sitting on that Las Vegas bench.
And you can't necessarily replace 28 and 10 from Asia, obviously, when she's not on the floor. But this group is 1 and 2 without Asia this year. Fundamentally, what is this group doing differently when she's not on the floor?
We're trying to find ways to win basketball games. I mean, we've had to play small a little bit more. We've had to scrap, but it's not just Asia's points, it's her gravity. It's her.
And there's the whole thing collapsing, straight from the losing coach's mouth. Becky Hammond telling you that you cannot just replace 28 and 10. That's Aja Wilson's line. And Aja Wilson did not play in this game. The best player on that roster, one of the best in the entire league, in street clothes on the sideline. And Hammond isn't even framing it as the scoring. She's saying it's the gravity, the pull, the way Aja's presence warps a defense and springs everybody else loose. Now hold that up against what's coming online, the exact same crowd that's about to tell you Indiana's win is fake because Caitlin Clark sat. Where are they on this? Aja Wilson sits, and somehow that just evaporates from the conversation. That's the field day I already know the media is about to have. Indiana only wins because Clark's out. And it's a double standard you can measure, because Las Vegas is 1 and 2 this season in the games Aja misses. So the absence is real, it matters, it shows up in the record. It just apparently only counts when it's convenient for one side of the story.
Boston trying to go to work. Spins away from the double and gets a... There has been a Connecticut player on the roster of 21 of the 29. Great. Into the lane.
So while everybody's arguing about who wasn't on the floor, let's actually look at who was. Aaliyah Boston posted a double-double and made it look like a light workout. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 31 minutes of just owning the paint, 7 for 13 from the field. But the number that should stop you cold is 3 for 4 from behind the arc. Aaliyah Boston, a center, a post player, shooting the 3 at that clip. Understand what that does to a defense. If she can already punish you inside, and now she'll step out and knock down threes, there is no clean way to guard her. Crowd her, she blows by you. Sag off, she shoots over you. That's a nightmare cover, and it's a brand new wrinkle in her game. And she does it against Las Vegas specifically, in a matchup she has real history with, history that goes back to the biggest games these two teams have ever played. File that away, because we are absolutely circling back to it before the end.
They're playing their 4th game in 8 days. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus only played 7 minutes in that first half. Boston trying to go to work.
Now let me be fair to Las Vegas for a beat, because the honest version of this has to hold two things at once. The broadcast flagged it. This was the Aces' 4th game in just 8 days. That's a brutal, compressed stretch. And by the back end of a run like that, legs get heavy and rotations get short. So when Becky Hammond says her team looked tired, that's not nothing, and I'm not going to wave it away. But here's where the excuse starts to wobble. And be honest with yourself. Even fully rested, an Aces team without Aja Wilson was going to have a hard time generating good offense tonight. Because the problem isn't just tired legs, it's a missing engine. Fresh legs don't replace her passing lanes. Indiana was buried in a tough stretch too. The schedule doesn't only tax the home team, and being tired does not explain getting out-muscled on the glass in your own building, which we are getting to. So log the schedule as a factor. Just don't let anyone hand it to you as the entire answer, because the tape keeps pointing somewhere else.
Well, in the third, like I said, I mean, our offense has to help our defense to a certain degree. That's the fastest team in the league, you know, so far as pace and push and pace. So when we're either taking quick shots or not good shots, you know, they're just off to the races, and it puts your defense behind right away.
And this right here is the tell. Becky Hammond calls Indiana the fastest team in the league. Pace, push, off to the races. That is not a throwaway compliment. That is a coach explaining that the instant her offense stalls, the Fever are already gone the other way before anyone can get back on defense. This is the piece people flatten out when they shrink Indiana down to one name. This team has a real identity now. They run. They turn your missed shot into a layup at the other end before you've crossed half court. And a fast pace is exactly what punishes tired legs. If the Aces really were gassed, the worst possible opponent is the one team that refuses to let you walk the ball up and catch your breath. So when Las Vegas settled for quick shots and forced shots, they weren't just missing, they were feeding Indiana the exact game Indiana wants to play. Get a stop, sprint, easy bucket, do it again. That is not a hot night that fell out of the sky. That's a style clash, and tonight, the style that won, and won comfortably, was the one coming off the visitors' bench.
Blows by to the left side. And that the harassment and the hate, Debbie, is not okay, whether it's directed at her or are out tonight, and as much as they miss them and would love to have them on the floor, there are opportunities for other players to stay.
Even the broadcast said the quiet part out loud. As much as any team misses the players who are out, that also opens the door for other people to step up. And that's the entire point of tonight. Indiana did not win on one name. Lexi Hull gave them 10 points and 4 boards in 22 minutes. Monique Billings went and ripped down 6 rebounds in 21. And Kelsey Mitchell was aggressive downhill all night, 10 of 12 from the free throw line, which tells you she was attacking the rim and drawing contact, not floating around the perimeter, settling for jumpers. Getting to the line 10 times is free, uncontested offense, and it quietly piles fouls onto the Aces' bigs, which shrinks their rotation even further on a night they were already short on legs. When your supporting cast produces at that level, you don't need a superstar touching every single possession. That's the difference between a team and a highlight package. Las Vegas, tonight, without their headliner, could not find that reliable second and third option. Indiana, without theirs, had a whole rotation of them.
So some of that, our efficiency offensively needs to help our defense. Tonight, like I said, not a terrible job to hold them to 84. We just couldn't score on the other end. So even though I didn't love the third quarter defensively, you know, the problem tonight was on the offensive end more so.
And here's the part I genuinely respect from Becky Hammond, because she didn't go hide behind her defense. She flat out admitted that holding a team to 84 is not the disaster. The disaster was that her own team couldn't put the ball in the basket. Sit with how much that reframes the night. This wasn't Indiana catching fire and stealing one on the road. This was Las Vegas going cold and stagnant for long stretches, and Indiana being disciplined enough to make them pay for it every single trip down the floor. 68 points at home. That is not the fingerprint of a team that simply ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. That's a team that could not manufacture a good look for 40 minutes without the player who usually manufactures them for everybody, which drags us right back to the double standard. If a missing star explains 68 points on one side of the floor, then a missing star explains a thin night on the other. You don't get to apply that logic in one direction only and call it analysis.
But the O boards definitely hurt us in the third quarter. Gets to be a compounding effect when you're not getting stops or they're getting second, third, fourth opportunities. It's just super deflating.
The rebounding is where it truly slipped away from them, and you can hear precisely how much it stung. Second chance points in the third quarter, over and over, and Hammon calls it super deflating, because it is. There is nothing that breaks a team's spirit faster than playing good defense, earning the stop, and then watching the other team just rip the offensive board and score anyway. Do that 3 or 4 times in a single quarter, and it doesn't just cost points, it drains belief. You can watch a team's shoulders drop. Indiana did that repeatedly in Las Vegas's own arena, and pair it with the free throws, with Indiana living at the rim and drawing contact all night. That's not finesse basketball, that's physicality and want to. A team that is supposedly missing its stars out hustling and out toughing the home team on the glass. If you're an Aces fan tonight, forget the final number for 1 second. That effort gap is the thing that should actually keep you up. Talent slumps come and go. Getting outworked in your own building is a different kind of problem.
And so now, you know, we're in a lot of situations where people are just really cheating off some players, and it's hard to play like that. So we have to do a better job of just finding space, moving the ball, and letting things find us on the third and fourth sides. We're not getting the ball to the second side or third side offensively, and it really kind of bogs us down.
Now here is the real diagnosis, and this is where the whole Aja conversation finally gets interesting instead of lazy. Listen to what Becky Hammond is actually describing. The offense isn't reaching the second and third side of the floor. The ball sticks, it bogs down. Defenders cheat off certain players and nothing happens. That is a specific surgical problem. When Aja Wilson is out there, the defense has to collapse on her, the ball swings, and somebody comes wide open on the weak side. Take her away, and teams just camp on the Aces shooters and dare everyone else to beat them. And tonight, nobody could. So yes, Aja's absence matters enormously for Las Vegas, which is exactly why it is so absurd to keep pretending a missing star only counts for one team. Both of these teams were down a franchise player. One of them had built enough around that absence to still run their offense and win on the road. The other one bogged down and went quiet in the 60s in its own building. That is the actual headline. Not that the win is fake. The headline is that Indiana has quietly built a team that survives without its face, and Las Vegas, right now, has not.
A question about the lineups. Shuffle a bit today. You've gone with Steph for most of the year. Cheyenne started tonight. Also saw Jewel in the starting lineup now for the past week. Are you kind of experimenting right now, seeing what works, or is there different motivation for some of the lineups?
I just felt like we needed to start big with Cheyenne. Actually, I thought Steph played great the game before in Chicago, so it wasn't any.
And you can see in real time that the Aces know something's off. Look at the lineup shuffle. Cheyenne Parker thrown into the starting group, Hammon calling it an executive decision, going big because she felt she had no choice but to change the matchup. That's a coach mid-season hunting for anything that unsticks a stalled offense. Starters getting benched, bigs getting shuffled in. That's not confidence, that's a search party. Now put that next to Indiana, who didn't have to reinvent a thing. They just kept running their stuff and handed Aaliyah Boston the ball. And this is the callback I promised you. Boston has torched Las Vegas before. In the biggest games, these two franchises have played against each other. And now she's stacked a three-point stroke on top of everything she already does. Here's the twist I'll be honest about, though. Plenty of people, and I'm one of them, don't think Indiana's coaching has been anywhere near clean this season. This team wins games in spite of some of the decisions on that sideline, not because of them. And that almost makes tonight worse for Las Vegas. Because if Indiana is winning on the road, without its biggest star, with coaching that's fair game for criticism, and your fully schemed offense still went quiet at home, what exactly is left of the excuse?
So we got a couple days here to rest and regroup, and go out on the road for one.
Coach, you just talked about running out of gas, but in these second halves where things kind of fall flat for you guys, what are some of the commonalities that you're noticing?
And that pattern she's chasing is the real cliffhanger for Las Vegas, because this problem does not vanish the moment Acha walks back through the door. The second and third scoring, the stagnant ball, the fourth quarter fade, those are becoming habits, and habits are hard to break in the middle of a season. The bigger question for them is whether tonight was a one-off tired night or a preview of what this contender looks like the moment it's forced to lean on its role players and comes up empty. For Indiana, it's the exact opposite question. They just proved they can win a real road game against a real opponent without their headliner. That changes the math on their whole season. That's the kind of win that moves you in the standings. And in a race this tight, one road win over a contender can be the difference between a home playoff series and a road one. That's not a small thing. That's seeding. That's a first-round matchup. More importantly, it tells your own locker room you don't fold when a star sits. But, and Sophie Cunningham said it herself, none of it means a thing if they can't stack these on top of each other.
Worldwide, I really think wherever we go, it's a home game for us. And so we just try to put on, work hard, play hard, and, we just got to work on our consistency. They show out for us, and we need to show out for them.
That word right there, consistency, is the entire assignment, and it's coming from inside the locker room, not from me. Because Indiana has its own cleanup to do, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Kelsey Mitchell led everyone with 27, but she got there on 7 of 18 shooting and 3 of 9 from 3. That's a heavy volume of shots for that many misses, and for the minutes she logs, I want to see sharper, cleaner efficiency, not just a big number sitting at the top of the box score. Nobody in this thing is flawless, but that's the small argument. Here's the one I actually want from you tonight. When Indiana wins like this, on the road, without their biggest name, against a team also missing its biggest name, is that a legitimate "this team is dangerous" win? Or do you genuinely buy that it only counts when everybody's healthy, a rule that somehow only ever gets aimed at one side? You cannot run both of those at the same time, and the entire internet is about to try. Put it in the comments, legit or asterisk. I read every single one of them. And if you want breakdowns like this, with no media spin, just what the film and the box score actually say, do me a favor, tap that like button, hit subscribe so the next one finds you, and I'll see you on the next breakdown. Shake the haters off, I'm out.